Gamescom returned this month as a hybrid digital and in-person event, and as has been the case for the last few years, the event was once again kicked off by Gamescom Opening Night Live. This was followed by Future Games Show. As expected, this week was packed with new announcements. Let's take 20 of the biggest. The Last Case of Benedict Fox new details. Plot twists: The Last Case of Benedict Fox, a platformer with Lovecraftian elements, received a new trailer at the Future Games Showcase. It sees the detective and his supernatural companion exploring a mansion, traversing into limbo to progress forward in the real world, and vice versa. Along with investigating different clues and tarot cards, players can also visit Houdini to obtain items. He'll also inscribe various skills, resulting in a rather painful tattooing process. Some skills include Slam, which allows for breaking through weak floors. You can also use lockpicks to bypass some doors. Of course, Fox and his companion aren't the only ones who can explore the limbo. Gotham Knights villains and release date. Gotham Knights might not feature the Joker in its cast of villains, but its developer promised a big villain reveal not long back, and they've certainly made good on that promise. WB Games premiered a new trailer for the upcoming open-world action RPG at Gamescom Opening Night Live, and it's focused primarily on some of the many villains that players will be squaring off against in the game. In the trailer, we see the likes of Harley Quinn and Clayface, while a Talon of the Court of Owls also shows up, though the latter is no surprise, of course, considering the game's central premise. Some more bits and pieces of gameplay also get shown off, with tidbits and combat being shown with each of the 4 main heroes. Interestingly, WB Games has also brought Gotham Knights' launch slightly forward. Hogwarts Legacy new legacy trailer. Podkey Games' Hogwarts Legacy received some new gameplay at Gamescom Opening Night Live. It talks more about the dark arts, how it isn't necessarily the worst thing, spoiler, it is, and much more. Along with magical combat against reanimated skeletons, we also get to see combat against dark wizards. Exploration through a bone-filled dungeon can also be seen along with an overwhelmingly large foe. The development team also confirmed details for the Digital Deluxe Edition, which provides the Dark Arts pack, with a mount, cosmetic set, and battle arena, an Onyx Hippogriff mount, Dark Arts Garrison hat, and 72 hours of early access. Dying Light 2 Bloody Ties. The first paid expansion for Techland's Dying Light 2 Stay Human, Bloody Ties, received its first trailer at Gamescom Opening Night Live. Having previously been delayed from June to September, the expansion has seen another delay, and is now slated to launch in October. Dying Light 2 Bloody Ties will be focused on a new location, the Carnegie Hall, which Techland describes as, quote, the epicenter of death, wealth, and absolute splendor, end quote. The Carnegie Hall is an old opera building that seems to have been repurposed as a gladiator arena of sorts, which is in line with previous leaks about the expansion. Expect new characters, quests, weapons, challenges, and more. Moonbreaker. Unknown Worlds Entertainment promised a new game reveal at Gamescom Opening Night Live. What we didn't expect was a turn-based tactical strategy title with miniature figurines and a universe crafted by fantasy author Brandon Sanderson. Check out Moonbreaker, which goes into early access for PC on September 29th. One can compete against other players online or engage in offline challenges. Those keen on single player can engage in cargo runs, which offer procedurally generated encounters, upgraded abilities, and more. Tesla Grad 2. Developer Rain Games and publisher Modus Games have announced the sequel to side-scrolling game Tesla Grad, appropriately titled Tesla Grad 2. The sequel got an announcement trailer. Tesla Grad 2 revolves around a new protagonist, Lumina, who has crash-landed into an uncharted region where she discovers an ancient tower brimming with technology. The gameplay will revolve around using electromagnetic abilities to solve physics-based puzzles, exploration, platforming, and outwitting enemies. Tesla Grad 2 features hand-drawn art with muted pastel tones for its art style, featuring untamed nature as well as industrial caves. New Tales from the Borderlands. Gearbox has announced a sequel to Tales from the Borderlands, appropriately titled New Tales from the Borderlands. The game got announced during Gamescom Opening Night Live with a trailer. The cinematic trailer gives us a solid glimpse at the New Tales from the Borderlands story, and even potentially sets up the primary antagonists. New Tales from the Borderlands focuses on the story of 3 lovable losers who can't stay out of their way. The game will take place over 5 parts. and will feature a number of new and returning characters. Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2 has kept us waiting a long time, and over the course of several years, and as a victim of multiple delays, it's even cycled through a number of developers. However, the upcoming open-world action RPG finally got re-revealed at Gamescom Opening Night Live with a cinematic reveal trailer. Dead Island 2 will have 6 unique playable characters, including Jacob, who stars in this new trailer. It's also been confirmed that the game is set in Los Angeles, or, well, a post-apocalyptic, zombie-ridden version of it at least. Over-the-top action, brutal combat, and more are also promised. Everywhere. Developer Build a Rocket Boy has unveiled its first game titled Everywhere during Gamescom Opening Night Live. While not too many details were revealed, Everywhere looks like it's trying to be an immense sandbox game with all sorts of genre mixing and mashing. Build a Rocket Boy describes Everywhere as a game that blends gameplay, adventure, creativity, and discovery, and hopes to redefine how players digitally connect with each other. Unfortunately, not too many details about Everywhere were revealed. We don't really know what kind of gameplay it will feature, and if it has a focus on creativity, what kind of creation tools players will have access to. Under the Waves. The next game by developer Quantic Dream has been announced, titled Under the Waves. The game will be coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series in 2023. Under the Waves is a sci-fi story that takes place in a techno-futuristic version of the 1970s. Its protagonist is professional diver Stan, who's trying to overcome a recent tragedy in his life. Under the Waves has been described by Quantic Dream as a love letter to the ocean, where players will be able to experience its underwater setting with cinematic visuals and poignant storytelling. The only company Stan will have throughout his time under the waves will be underwater wildlife. Stan will also be able to explore caves, wrecks, and underwater plants with his special wetsuit. Winds Meet. Developer Everstone Studio and publisher NetEase Games have announced a new open-world action RPG titled Where Winds Meet. Where Winds Meet doesn't yet have a release date, but a beta test is planned for later this year. The game is currently being developed for PC. Where Winds Meet takes place in the final days of the Ten Kingdoms era of Chinese history. It offers a large open world, promising in-depth interactions with the world thanks to over 600 antique components and the environment system. The trailer for Where Winds Meet gives us a glimpse at some of the game's world, a bit of combat, and interestingly, some strong wuxia inspiration in its combat, owing to which players can pull off some physics-defying moves, such as run on the surface of water. Combat is stated to be a key part of Where Winds Meet, and players will be tested on their skills, attacks, and counterattacks. Players can also use a Tai Chi skill to turn back an enemy's attack onto themselves. The Gap. Among the many new titles announced at the Future Games Showcase during Gamescom was The Gap. Developed by Label This psychological first-person thriller tells the story of Joshua Hayes, a neuroscientist who, along with his family, suffers from a rare genetic disorder. To help his family, Joshua partakes in an experiment run by Neuraxis, a biotech giant. Unfortunately, things seem to take a turn for the worse. With his memories and personality a mess, Joshua explores various minimalist rooms and uses items to investigate his past via déjà vu. Of course, there are parallel realities to delve into because things aren't convoluted enough already. Whether Joshua can trust anyone, much less himself, is the real mystery. Bulwark, Falconer Chronicles. Thomas Sala and publisher Wired Productions have announced a new city-building game titled Bulwark, Falconer Chronicles, and it's set in the Falconer universe. Bulwark Falconer Chronicles is set in the oceanic world of the Great Yersea. The gameplay will involve managing resources, building up a city, and making choices that make defending the city easier or harder. Rather than forcing players into rigid layouts, the city-building gameplay in Bulwark Falconer Chronicles is more free-form, allowing players to build wildly across rocky cliffs and crags. The Callisto Protocol new gameplay. Running on current-gen hardware, the new gameplay starts with protagonist Jacob wandering around, slaying biophages with firearms, a shock baton, and the GRP, hurling them into nearby turbines. One new mechanic that's showcased is mutations, with a biophage sprouting tentacles from its gut. If you don't take it down quickly, then it could cause some serious trouble. This transitions to a scene where he's sent down an extensive series of tunnels thanks to a sudden rush of water. There are plenty of places where Jacob could potentially die, including a giant fan that catches and crushes him. System Shock Remake's new trailer. The System Shock remake keeps resurfacing every once in a while with a new trailer, and developer Night Dive Studios brought another one of those to the recent Future Games Show Gamescom 2022 showcase. The terrifying and malevolent AI Shodan is, of course, a crucial fixture of anything and everything to do with System Shock, and the artificial intelligence takes center stage in the remake's newest trailer. It also offers a decent look at gameplay, showcasing various locations and environments that fans of the original should find familiar, as well as glimpses of combat and various weapons and enemies. Layers of Fear's gameplay. Layers of Fears, the latest sequel in Bloober Team's first-person psychological horror series, received its first gameplay trailer at the Future Games Showcase. The story involves a pianist and a painter, and the latter sounding very familiar to the twisted protagonist of the first game, while the former seems to be his tormented spouse. Developed on Unreal Engine 5, Layers of Fear promises horror reimagined. Building off of foundations of the first two games, it features 4K resolution and HDR support, ray tracing, and the lumen system for immersive lighting. Though the entire story has yet to be outlined, it will showcase the stories of artists enslaved by their obsessions while casting a new light on the overarching narrative. Return to Monkey Island. Announced earlier this year out of nowhere, but to a great fanfare, Return to Monkey Island has quickly become one of the more highly anticipated titles of the year for a great many people, and has continued to look promising with each new showing. Now we know exactly when to expect the game. At Gamescom Opening Night Live, the adventure title received another new trailer that confirmed a release date. Return to Monkey Island is due out in September, and the trailer does a typically excellent job of announcing that in classic Monkey Island fashion. Pre-ordering the game, funnily enough, will also get you access to free horse armor in the game, though it is good for absolutely nothing and cannot be used in the game for anything. All it will do is sit in your inventory. Lies of P receives new gameplay trailer. Since its announcement nearly a year ago, NeoWiz's Pinocchio Souls-like action RPG Lies of P has been looking like quite a promising prospect, and has only continued to look more and more solid with each new showing. At Gamescom Opening Night Live, the game received another new trailer and, once again, impressed with what it had to show. The trailer, which is quite a meaty one, starts with focusing on Lies of P's setting and world, before diving into the gameplay, showcasing glimpses of the game's combat and several of its locations. Combat is looking intense and fast, with a number of different weapons to use, while the variety and design of the enemies shown off is also looking impressive. Sonic Frontiers release date. A new trailer for Sega's Sonic Frontiers debuted at Gamescom Opening Night Live, along with the title's release date. It's out on November 8th. Nevertheless, there's plenty of new gameplay to be seen. Along with the open zone gameplay, which offers a glimpse at some new biomes, there are some new cyberspace levels that can be gleaned. The trailer ends with Sonic discovering Amy Rose, who goes missing when the story begins. Unfortunately, he has to fight against the mysterious sage, who keeps telling him to leave the island. Where things go from there remains to be seen. Scars Above. Developer Madhead Games has released a new trailer for its upcoming third-person action-adventure game, Scars Above. The trailer shows off some of the game's tone and setting. The new trailer for Scars Above gives us a glimpse at a little bit of gameplay, but its primary focus is still the story. Scars Above's story revolves around an alien structure that appears in Earth's orbit, setting everything else into motion. When a team tries to investigate the structure, dubbed the Metahedron, the investigation team is carried away to a new world where they must now fight for survival while trying to find a way back home. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on Gaming Bolt.